Welcome to another video from Gweilo 60. A couple of weeks ago I put out a video, why are all the foreigners leaving China, or why do foreigners leave China? And then one of the California turds, California clowns, Lao 86, put out a video, probably taking the lead from me, obviously, because it was a week later. And he put out a video, why is China getting rid of all foreigners? So he put a negative spin on it. So I thought I'd throw him another bone here today and make a video about why do foreigners actually stay in China. Then he can make a video that says, why are foreigners being forced to stay in China, you know, with that negative spin. So, you know, the idea that people go to a place like China, and a lot of them just go to visit a couple of weeks here and a couple of weeks there, and then some people stay for basically years and years and years, like yours truly, 19 years in China. Probably the best way to do this video, or part of it, is to Westwood Lake, eh? My backgrounds, you gotta love them. This is on Vancouver Island, just outside of Nanaimo. Well, it's really in Nanaimo, but yeah, beautiful country. But to take you through a day in the life of Gweilo 60 in China, one of the things that I really enjoy is when we get up in the morning, we never eat at home because life is inexpensive, and you can go and we go out for breakfast every morning. $2, guys. $2 Canadian. 10 RMB. It used to be about half price back in the day when, you know, the early 2000s up to about 2010. But that's one of the things that going out for breakfast, $2, getting your ass out of the house, you're more active. Life is inexpensive over there. You can do all you can eat, as you've heard me say, for $12, all you can eat and all you can drink. You can jump on trains, planes, and buses for probably 1/5 the cost of what it would cost you in Canada. Canada's expensive, guys. There's so many different things. One of the main reasons that people actually stay, and why I stayed and bought a home, is because I married a Chinese girl, and she has family and friends, and her whole life was in China up until she married me. So it would be fair for her to be moved to Canada and have no China experience anymore. So when we retired, we moved over there full time. Sure, we go back and forth because we have a place here on Vancouver Island and a place in Nanning, China. But that's one of the main reasons a lot of people stay. A lot of people like the adventure. The old guys, like myself, the old guys that have been out and about in Canada, the United States, or Great Britain, or Australia, or wherever. Life gets pretty frickin' mundane, guys. Like, seriously, you go to Superstore for your food, you go to Walmart, you go shopping, everything. You got Burger King, you got Pizza Hut, you got KFC and McDonald's, and how frickin' boring can you get? After 60 years of that, the retired boys and girls say, I've had enough. I want some excitement. I want something different. China's probably one of the most different countries that you can find on this earth, and it's because the culture is different, the culture's longer, the traditions are different, the language is different, the food is definitely different. That brings me to another one. The food in China is freaking amazing. It takes a while to get used to, but after you get into the living in China and the food that they eat there, you come back here and it's boring. Roast beef, steak, pork chops, spaghetti, chili, pizza. Oh, after being in Canada for the last 4 or 5 months, I'm so bored out of my gourd on food that it's sad, because you got no cha sao, you got no sao, yeah, you've got no Korean barbecues to just it's just the variety of the different types of restaurants. It's not just one thing, it's everything. So, and you're in a part of the world where the food there comes from Singapore, from Thailand, from Vietnam, from China, obviously, from Malaysia. You've got food from all over the world in China, and they've just put their Chinese spin on it. Where here, it is pretty fucking boring. And then another thing, when you're traveling around China, it's not the same everywhere. You've got like the stone forest of the Kunming area. You've got the Karst Mountains of Guangxi. You've got the Great Wall of China. You've got the deserts of Xinjiang Autonomous Region. You've got the high plateau of Gansu Province and Tibet. You've got the mega cities of Chongqing, Beijing, Shanghai, and Tianjin, Guangzhou. You've got the metropolis of Hong Kong. You've got everything from tropical in the south, or subtropical in the south, where we live in Nanning City and Guangxi Autonomous Region, right on the South China Sea, to just like Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, 40 below, and Harbin up along the Russian border. You know, you've got East China Sea, you've got South China Sea, you get my drift. It takes years and years and years to go through all of China and see everything, and you've got, you know, I think 56 different minorities in China, and they all have their areas, they all have their language, traditions, their traditional clothing, their culture, their different types of foods and stuff like that. So to go through all of that, and you wonder why people that go there for like a visit come back over and over again, and then decide to stay for years and years. It's not just the old boys that are bored. It's young people looking for adventure, going over there to teach English. 1.4 billion people. The opportunity in business is amazing, especially in the bigger cities. And the manufacturing of Guangdong province is the manufacturing capital of the world. They've got more exports coming out of China than you can shake a stick at, and it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. The economy is booming over there. They don't have inflation. They don't have interest rates going out of this world right now. So when you borrow money to buy a house over there, you're not getting hosed like they are here now. They don't have the social welfare program, so you don't have a lot of people living on welfare generation after generation. You catch my drift. There's so many things going on in a place like China that it catches the adventure in a person. It catches that thing inside you that you want to see more. You haven't seen enough. I haven't been here enough. I want to go back. I want to see more. All of those things. So when you think about why do people go to China and why do people stay in China long term, point them towards this video, because all of these things and more are the reasons why foreigners go to China and spend anywhere from a couple weeks to a lifetime. Then you could take a darker look at it and say, why are people being forced to stay in China? Like maybe I could circumvent this and bring this to light before, well, their wives or girlfriends, Chinese girlfriends, make them stay in China. They want to take your money away from you. They want you to buy them a house and stay in that house forever, never going anywhere, never going back to your home country, Canada, or the United States, or wherever it may be, because China won't issue you an exit visa. I've heard that on a number of occasions. There's no such thing as an exit visa. You you got a passport, you jump on an airplane, you go home. If you're Chinese and you have a visa to Canada, well, that's the only visa you need, guys. They're not going to stop you at the border and say you can't go. There are no restrictions on actually leaving China, unless you're scared going to Hong Kong out of Shenzhen, and people are watching you, and so you escape from China, and then you go back a couple months later to sell your house. But it's all a farce, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to sell a YouTube video to unsuspecting, gullible people out there that will believe anything that they're told, just so long as it's got something to do with tramping on China, tramping on the Chinese people, tramping on the Chinese government, making China look bad in the eyes of the world, blackening that eye. Sooner or later people are going to see through those lies, and that'll be the end of those channels. But in the meantime, it causes a lot of hatred. It causes a lot of angst between Western people and Chinese people, or all of Asian people, because most people can't tell the difference between the two, or 3 or 4 or 5 type thing. And when I was making that video about why foreigners leave China, I left out the part about the COVID and the restrictions and making life harder on people, and I did that for a reason, because I figured that it would be front and center. If I left it out, it would be front and center in the comment section, and it actually was. You know, a lot of foreigners left China because of the restrictions, the COVID restrictions. They are a little heavy-handed, and the Chinese government wants it that way because they want to protect lives. A lot of people say the zero COVID policy is a failure in China. Well, tell that to over 1 million people that died in the United States because of COVID, because they didn't take it seriously. So as far as people leaving because of that reason, yeah, that's probably one of the main reasons at this particular time. But back to the main theme of this video. Why do foreigners stay in China long term? Well, the main reason why people stay in China long term, and why I stayed in China long term, is because I love the people. I love the safety. I don't get, well, you can't get scared walking home at night, just for the fact that there's no violence. There's zero violence over there. They have no drug addicts. The parks are clean and for the people, not for homeless camps. There's just, it's like going back into the 1950s in Canada, where family values meant everything. There was no violence. People worked for a living. All people work for a living over there. You know, they have those values that we used to have back in the 1950s, like 70 years ago here in Canada, where those values seem to be eroded. And I think that's the main reason why a lot of the older boys stay in China, is because they see that China used to be like it was back in the day when they were younger. The values of the people, just the feeling of being in a place where it's moving in a positive direction, I think is one of the main reasons why people stay there. So let's get back to the beginning of this this video. You go out for breakfast and it costs absolutely nothing. Then you ride your e-bike down the street, and you look over at the corner store, and there's an ice cold Liqian Peugeot beer sitting in a cooler, tall boy of course, and it's 5 RMB, $1. Yes, and so you can sit on the side of the street or walk down the street with that beer in your hand. You can go into a store with that beer in your hand. You can go to well, let me back up a little bit. You could walk down the street. You can do all of that stuff with a beer in your hand. Nobody cares. You can walk by a police officer. Nobody cares. The police do not carry guns. They don't stop your car. If you're going to get a ticket, it's going to be the camera that stops you. There's no police violence over there. Okay, so then it comes dinner time, and you've picked up a bottle of wine, say at Walmart, and you want to go into a restaurant, or you picked up a 6-pack of beer and you want to go into a restaurant. Well, yes, you can go into that restaurant and take your 6-pack of beer, your bottle of wine or whatever. There's no corkage fee. You're allowed to take your own booze into these places and stuff. Yes, it's a booze hound paradise, and I love that. You end up in the middle of the afternoon, after you've eaten like a pig. You go for a siesta, because in the middle of the day it gets hotter than a $5 pistol in Nanning. So we take a break, we have a snooze, then we go to the wet market shopping. Everything is inexpensive, everything is fresh. Your vegetables, your fruits, everything comes right out of the fields into the wet markets. So the type of fruits that are out there are just amazing. The vegetables, and you've seen some of my videos where it shows the wet markets. The meat is more expensive, and I have to say the beef is not as good because I think it's water buffalo. It's not. But the idea of shopping in a place where it's inexpensive, shopping in a place where everything is fresh, shopping in a place where if you want that chicken, they actually slaughter that chicken for you right in front of you, so you know you've got some of the freshest meat that money can buy. So, you know, and then in the evening when you go outside, or in the parks in the afternoon, in the morning, in the evening, people are out dancing, people are out exercising, people are doing what people should be doing in the parks. Then you get into the evening and there's ladies dancing on the street, there's people out shopping and eating food, street food on Hojilu. There's all of these things, and you wonder why people stay in China is because the lifestyle is good, the people are good, it's safe, it's inexpensive, there's no drug addicts, there's no violence, there's all of these things and more. So when somebody asks you, or me, why have you stayed in China? It's hard to do it in a comment. Why have you stayed in China so long? It's hard to do in a comment. So I'll just direct them towards this video, and it takes 10 or 15 minutes just to tell you. And I'm not touching on everything. This is just off the top of my head. Why don't I go ask this young lady why foreigners stay in China so long? Just hang on a second. Excuse me, young lady.
Hi.
Hi. So why do you think foreigners stay in China so long?
Because they love it, China.
What do they love about it?
The culture.
The culture, not the girls?
The food.
The food?
Yeah, of course the girl is beautiful.
The girls are beautiful. Do the wives make you stay in like, I'm married to a girl in China, and she makes me stay there.
Yeah, for sure, because my family in there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And you want me to spend all my money in China?
No, not really.
Not all my money, just part of it?
No, because you're too rich.
Too rich?
How can you spend at all
so what
in
are you,
China?
So what are you doing? Just hanging out here by the lake?
You see how beautiful it is here.
Where's your bikini?
Sorry. you didn't tell me you come to the lake today.
Yeah. Anyway, that's another video from Gweilo 60 and
Very fun.
if you like this video, as always, like, comment,
Subscriber.
the subscriber.
And he always made me say the long word.
Yeah.
Because he know I make fun for everybody.
Yeah. Just you have a way of subscribering. Anyway, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, make a comment, all of those things, and put a couple bucks in the Patreon account. I just had to buy a new computer, $2,000 for $2,000 for a computer, because the studio needed an upgrade, because when you're running two different tracks and stuff, the old computer just couldn't hack it. So
too heavy.
Yeah,
inside too much stuff, and then the computer too old.
Not only that, but the equipment and the thing, after it's all said and done, it could be up to $5,000 for that studio with him.
Oh my goodness, I'm bankrupt.
You're bankrupt. Anyway, put a couple bucks on the Patreon account. It'll be greatly appreciated. Until next time, thanks for watching. Peace out.
Bye now.
Bye now.